Hello and welcome students. This is Sunita Kharchane from SV Union School and Junior College. Today we will be learning Standard 9 Geography Chapter 8 Introduction to Economics. Before we begin with the chapter, let us get acquainted to the two terms. First one, income. Income is the money that an individual or business receives, usually in exchange for providing a good or service or through investing capital. The second term is expenditure. An expenditure represents a payment with either a cash or credit to purchase of good or services. Let us learn more about the income and expenditure with the help of a table given. Suppose from the table, if this is your expenditure for the month, that is 22,550, but the income for the month is 20,000. So from this table, we find that the expected expenditure for the month is 22,550 is higher than the income 20,000. So we need to reduce or strike or skip some expenses here. Now we have to decide our preferences and cut down our unnecessary expenses. Now in this case, we can cut down the tourism and recreation and we can balance between the income and the expenditure. Now after learning this example, we have realized that the management of the individual or the family is related to the income and expenditure. So income and expenditure, this is called as the economic factor. But along with the income and expenditure, there are other factors like saving, finance and money. These are also considered to be the economic factor that leads to the birth of economics. The word economics comes from the Greek word oikonomia, which means family management. There is a lot of similarity between family management and economics. We understand from economics how to use time, money, labor and land effectively, how to satisfy the infinite needs of the people using various resources is the study matter of economics. Now here, labor, it refers to any human efforts which is directed to the production of goods or services, and land, it refers to the free gift of nature. Now that includes not only the land but also the mineral wealth available. As you all know students that needs are unlimited. When one need is satisfied, the other arises. And for satisfying our unlimited needs, we require the resources. And this relation between the unlimited needs of human being and the limited resources, this is the subject matter or the study matter of studying economics. According to Lionel Robbins, economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So according to Lionel Robbins, he says that human wants are unlimited and the means to satisfy them are scarce or they are limited in supply. So economics studies how people will use the limited resources, that is the scarce means, and these scarce means have the alternative uses which can be used in a best possible manner. Family economy is similar to the nation's economy. As we manage the expenditure of a family, same way, we have to manage the country's expenditure and income. That is called to be as a nation's economy. Now the nation get income through taxes paid by the people, that is by the citizens of a nation. Even nation has to balance between the income and the expenditure. As we manage the finances of our family, similarly villages, cities, state, countries and world also have economic management. Geographically speaking, the enterprises related to the production, distribution and consumption of goods and services in a specific region is called an economy. So geographically speaking, the enterprises here, it means the company or the business which are related to the production where the manufacturing of the products is done. Later on after the production, After the manufacturing, the distribution is done. That is, the manufactured products are further distributed to the consumers for the consumption purposes of the goods and services in a specific region or in a specific area. This is called as an economy. On a global level, there are three types of economies: capitalistic economy, socialistic economy, and mixed economy. Let us learn more about these economies. First one is capitalistic economy. Ownership and management of means of production is in the hands of private individual. Main aim is to earn maximum profit. So in this capitalistic economy, an individual can produce and sell whatever he wishes. He decides his own prices and the values. Many individuals can have various type of products and sell them in the market. The main aim of the capitalist economy is to earn the maximum profit. Now the nations who follow the capitalistic economy are Germany, Japan, USA. The next economy is the socialistic economy. In this economy, the means of production belongs to the society as a whole, that is, the government's control. Main aim is to achieve social welfare. So in socialistic economy, all the business or all the economy is under the government's control. The government decides the production, the distribution, and also decides the price and the value of the product. The main aim of the socialistic economy is to achieve the social welfare. And the nation who has adopted the socialistic type of economy are China and Russia. The last one is the mixed economy. Coexistence of private and public sectors. A balance between profit and social welfare is made. So the characteristic of this mixed economy is that we have both the sectors working together here, the private as well as the public sector. This is called as the mixed economy. So for example, in India, we have the public sector like BSNL, MTNL. These are the companies which works in a public sector. Whereas in the private sector, we have the Jio, the Vodafones. These are in the private sector. So in India, we have both the economy, the private as well as the public sector. That is the mixed economy. So along with India, the other nations like Sweden and UK have also adopted this type of economy, that is the mixed economy. The factor which affects an economy of a nation are: first one, the political sovereignty, the occupation, the population of the nation, and the geographical area and the natural resources available in that nation. Adam Smith is known as the father of economics. In his book Wealth of Nations, published in 1776, he has defined economics as the science of wealth. So according to Adam Smith, he states that when scientifically we try to manage and plan our wealth, that is our money, that is said to be the economics. Let us learn the globalization of economy. The recent economic policies are taking the economic toward globalization. Globalization means building a world economy. World economy is borderless economy in which natural resources, profit, services, capital, labor, and technology flow freely across borders of countries. Globalization means aligning the country's economy with the world economy. There is free trade and all restrictions on investment are set aside. So, the globalization of economy, it refers to the increasing of interdependence of the world economies. Now, for example, there are many products and brands like Disney, Mercedes-Benz, Apple, which are available throughout the world. Now, this shows that the globalization of economy, where the goods and services can be imported and exported throughout the world, and there are no physical borders for the world economy, and a free flow of goods, profits, natural resources like the coal, iron ore, then the technology, these are flowing freely across the borders of a country. Not only that, but people migrate from one nation to other nation for getting the employment. Now even we have many foreign investors into a nation, and even sometimes we as a nation can invest into the other nation. Now globalization, it means aligning. Aligning means linking the country's economy with the world economy. Now previously there were lot of restrictions about the foreign investment. Now there is a free trade, so many restrictions are now set aside. Now many of the foreign nations can come and they can invest into a nation. Because the restrictions are reduced now, the nations can allow the foreign investment, and also we can have an opportunity to have economic development. So free trade, it means there are no restrictions on the trade. Always remember, economics is an important social subject. Social subject means which is concerned with the production, distribution and consumption of goods and services. We use economics on the large scale in various fields like agriculture, trade, finance, administration, law, and in our daily life. Economics holds a paramount importance in the social development of humans. That is, economic hold more importance than any other thing for the social development of humans. The functions of an economy. Every country has a different economy. Previously, we have learned about the three types of economy: capitalistic economy, mixed economy, and socialistic economy. So every country has a different economy. Nevertheless, the main functions of economy are similar. Some of the main functions of economy are as follows. So let's learn about the main functions. First one, deciding the product and quantity of its production. That is, producing those goods which are in great demand, and at the same time to decide how much quantity to produce. Suppose if the goods are to be sold at a local level, then the population is less, so quantity of the production will also be less. But if at all the manufacturing has to be done at a national, international or at a global level, then definitely the large manufacturing or production will be done. The second function of an economy is minimize the production cost as much as possible. If the price of a product is very high, due to which the people will not purchase a product, but at the same time, because the people are not purchasing the product, the manufacturer cannot reduce the cost of the product. Then he would face a loss. At such a time, he can minimize the production cost of the product as much as possible, so that the manufacturer can sell the product at quite a nominal price, and people can also purchase the product and there will be a great demand for his product, and at the same time the manufacturer will also gain a profit. Third one, distribution of national income according to social and economic justice. That is, the national income and resources should be distributed equally to maintain the social and economic justice. That is, the development opportunity should be given to everyone equally. The fourth function is making appropriate provisions for the economic needs of the future. The resources which are available should be used prudently by every one of us, and also try to make use of other alternative resources, keeping in mind the need of our own future and also about the future generation. Next function, deciding for whom the goods will be produced. It all depends on who will purchase our product. Now the decision regarding the goods should be done keeping in mind that which population will be using our product, whether it is a common person or whether it is a rich person. Thus, an economy strives to create a balance between limited resources and the unlimited needs. So here the chapter ends with the functions of an economy. Thank you, students.